The morning light slips through the curtains. A soft hum of birds drifts in from the garden. Margaret stands by the window, her hand resting on the fabric. She tries to pull it open, but her shoulder hesitates. The movement feels stiff, almost fragile. She pauses, breathing quietly, watching dust dance in the sunlight. Her body feels heavier these days. Every small task takes a little more effort. She remembers when her arms moved freely, without thought or pain. Those mornings when she lifted her grandchildren with ease. When she reached high to hang clothes in the summer wind. Now even simple motion feels distant, like a memory fading. She lowers her hand slowly, a faint sigh escaping her lips. Outside, the world keeps moving soft, bright, effortless. Inside, her shoulders carry years of work, care, and silence. She wonders when she stopped noticing them, when she stopped moving with joy. The air feels still around her. And for a moment, she stands between what was and what could be. A quiet whisper inside her says, maybe it's time to begin again. The next morning arrives slowly. A pale light slips through the thin curtains. Margaret sits by the window, her cup of tea warm between her hands. She watches the steam rise and disappear into the air. Her shoulders ache again, a dull pull at the edge of movement. It's not sharp, not unbearable, but constant. Like an echo that never fades. She circles her arm gently, trying to find release. The joint resists, tight and stubborn. She stops, afraid the pain will grow. Outside, the street begins to wake. A neighbor sweeps her porch. A young couple jogs by, laughing softly. Their movements are fluid, effortless. Margaret feels a flicker of envy, then sadness. Once she moved like that too. Years ago, her mornings started in a rush. Cooking breakfast, fixing lunches, tying tiny shoes. Her hands were always busy, her arms always lifting. She never thought about her shoulders. They simply did what they were meant to do. Now, even raising her hand to brush her hair feels like climbing a hill. She wonders when that change began. It wasn't a single day, but a slow, quiet drift. The years layered like soft dust, unnoticed until too late. Her husband used to remind her to stretch. Just 5 minutes, he'd say with a grin. But she was always too busy. Then time slipped by, and suddenly 5 minutes felt like a luxury. Now the stillness feels endless. She misses the noise, the rhythm, the constant motion of life. Her reflection in the window looks back at her. There's kindness in those eyes, but also fatigue. She takes a deep breath, feeling her chest rise and fall. The air feels cool, steady. She moves her shoulder again, slowly this time. A soft pull, then a release. It hurts, but differently now, not sharp, just real. It reminds her she's still here. Still capable of feeling, of changing. She sets her teacup down and stands. The room feels quiet, but something inside her stirs. She rolls her shoulders once more, gently. Forward, then back. Her body creaks like an old door opening. A small smile appears on her lips. Maybe this is where it begins. Not with big plans or grand goals, but with one small movement done with care. She remembers the park nearby, the one with the pond. She used to walk there in spring, just to watch the water. Maybe tomorrow she'll go again. For now, she closes her eyes and breathes deeply. Each breath feels like a quiet promise to herself. The morning moves on, slow and soft. And Margaret stands there, shoulders heavy but heart light. Somewhere inside, she knows the weight will lift. Not all at once, but gently with time. With patience. With movement. She opens her eyes and whispers, almost to herself, I can start again. The next morning, the park feels fresh after a light rain. The ground is damp, and the air smells of grass and earth. Margaret walks slowly along the path, her scarf fluttering in the breeze. Her shoulders ache less today, though the stiffness lingers. She pauses by the pond, where ripples spread gently across the surface. There an old man moves with slow, graceful precision. His arms float through the air like waves, his breath steady and calm. Margaret watches him for a while, curious but shy to interrupt. After a few moments, he notices her and smiles kindly. "Beautiful morning," he says, his voice deep and steady. She nods, smiling back. "Yes, it feels peaceful here." He nods toward her shoulder, noticing how she rubs it gently. "Hurts, doesn't it?" he says softly. She hesitates, then nods again. "Just old age, I suppose." He chuckles, shaking his head. "Not old age, just forgotten movement." She tilts her head, uncertain what he means. He steps closer, his posture still relaxed, balanced. "I'm Tom," he says. "I used to be a physiotherapist before I retired." Margaret's eyes widen slightly. "Oh, really? Then you must know about this." She gestures to her shoulder with a small, embarrassed laugh. Tom nods, his eyes warm. "A little, but mostly I know that slow is better." "Slow," she repeats, surprised. He smiles. "Most people rush through pain, they fight it, but pain doesn't like to be fought." He lifts his arms gently, showing her a slow, circular motion. "Move with it," he says. "Let your body guide you." Margaret mimics him hesitantly, her movement awkward at first. Her shoulder protests, tight and uncertain. But Tom's voice is calm, patient. "Breathe in, breathe out, don't force it." She exhales softly, her body loosening a little. The air feels cooler on her skin. Her arm begins to circle more freely, slowly finding rhythm. Tom nods approvingly. "That's it, the body remembers if you let it." For a moment, Margaret feels something she hasn't in years: control. Not over time, but over how she responds to it. They move together quietly, like two leaves drifting on the same breeze. After a few minutes, Tom lowers his arms and smiles. "You see," he says, "it's not about strength, it's about kindness to yourself." Margaret smiles back, her breath calm, her eyes brighter. "It feels lighter," she says softly. Tom nods. "Exactly, the slower you move, the more your body listens." He gathers his things, preparing to leave. "Do a few of these each morning," he says. "Your shoulders will thank you." Margaret watches him walk away, his steps steady, his movements fluid. She stands by the pond for a while, feeling the quiet hum of life around her. A breeze brushes against her face, gentle as breath. She rolls her shoulders once more, testing the motion. It feels easier this time, not perfect but freer. She looks up at the sky, the clouds drifting slowly overhead. And for the first time in a long while, she doesn't feel old. She just feels alive. The next morning, Margaret stands in front of her mirror. The house is quiet, filled with the faint sound of ticking from the old clock. She looks at her reflection, at the slope of her shoulders, at the gentle lines of age. Tom's words echo in her mind: "Slow isn't weakness, it's wisdom." She takes a breath, letting it fill her chest slowly. Her hands rest at her sides. She rolls her shoulders forward, just as he showed her. The first motion feels stiff, almost mechanical. A small ache spreads through her upper arm, but she doesn't stop. She breathes again, this time deeper. The second roll feels smoother, warmer. The air around her feels alive with motion. She moves her shoulders backward, opening her chest to the light. Something shifts, a quiet release, a gentle crack that feels like letting go. Margaret exhales, her breath long and steady. She closes her eyes and listens to her body. Each movement becomes softer, slower, more natural. Her arms begin to sway slightly, following the rhythm of her breath. It's not perfect, but it's hers. She starts to feel warmth spreading across her back, a gentle pulse of energy. The tightness that lived there for years begins to loosen. She keeps moving small circles, each one smoother than the last. Her body remembers slowly how it once moved with ease. Margaret opens her eyes again. The light from the window touches her face, golden and kind. She smiles, realizing she's not forcing anything now. The stretch isn't about reaching farther, but about feeling deeper. Every inhale feels like new space opening inside her. Every exhale feels like releasing the weight she carried. She raises her arms higher, fingers trembling slightly. Her reflection watches back, not old, not young, just present. A small laugh escapes her lips, soft and surprised. She hadn't felt this connected to herself in years. Her shoulder still aches, but now it feels alive, not frozen. There's movement, warmth, and something like pride. She lowers her arms slowly, resting them over her heart. Her breath steadies again, calm and even. The ticking clock fades into the background. All she hears is her own breathing, steady and sure. She whispers to herself, "Slow is enough." Then she repeats the stretch again, even slower this time. She feels the ground beneath her feet, firm and supportive. Her spine straightens naturally, her posture taller. The stiffness melts a little more with each roll. She closes her eyes once more and smiles through the movement. For the first time, she's not doing this to fix her body. She's doing it to feel it, to remember that it still belongs to her. When she finally stops, her shoulders feel warm and light. Her breath feels like calm water. The pain hasn't vanished, but the heaviness has lifted. She looks in the mirror again and sees something new, a quiet strength returning. And in that reflection, Margaret feels free. Each morning now begins with a small ritual. Margaret wakes before the sun, when the house is still half asleep. She makes tea, the aroma of jasmine filling the air. Then she clears a little space near the window where the light first enters. It's quiet there, soft and familiar. She stands barefoot on the wooden floor, feeling its cool texture. Her breath is slow, her mind calm. She rolls her shoulders gently, forward and back, just like Tom taught her. The motion feels easier each day, smoother, kinder. Her body no longer resists, it listens. With each slow breath, she feels something lift inside her. The stiffness that used to define her mornings begins to fade. Her movements are still small, but they're steady and certain. Sometimes she adds a soft sway, letting her arms drift side to side. The movement feels almost like dancing, quiet but full of life. She starts to enjoy the silence, the rhythm of her own breathing. It's no longer an exercise, it's a conversation with herself. Her shoulders move in circles, her back lengthens, her chest opens. She imagines light flowing through every joint, every tendon. A warmth spreads through her muscles, like sunlight under her skin. She smiles without thinking. Her reflection in the window looks peaceful, strong, alive. This new ritual becomes her favorite part of the day. Not because it's easy, but because it reminds her she's still learning. She begins to notice small changes. Her arms lift higher when she hangs her laundry. She can reach the top shelf again without wincing. Her movements feel lighter, more natural. She catches herself humming as she moves. Each stretch feels like a whisper of gratitude to her own body. Sometimes she remembers how she used to rush everything. Always moving fast, always thinking of the next thing. Now she understands what slowing down truly means. It's not giving up, it's tuning in. Her breath becomes her guide, her anchor. The more she breathes, the more her body follows. Even her thoughts slow down, finding rhythm in each exhale. The world outside still moves quickly, but inside she feels still. One morning, she opens the window as she stretches. The breeze brushes against her arms, cool and gentle. Birdsong fills the air, soft and bright. She closes her eyes and lets her shoulders flow with the sound. Every movement feels like gratitude for the day, for her breath, for this small return. She no longer counts the minutes or the repetitions. She just moves until it feels right. When she stops, she stands tall, breathing deeply. Her shoulders rest where they belong, open, free, alive. And for a quiet moment, Margaret feels light enough to float. The years haven't left her weaker. They've simply taught her how to move with grace. And each morning, as the light fills her room, she remembers slow is strength. Weeks pass, and the days begin to blend softly together. Margaret keeps her morning routine like a promise she made to herself. Her shoulders no longer feel heavy when she wakes. The first stretch of the day now feels like a greeting, not a struggle. She moves slowly, breathing with purpose, each motion smooth and calm. Her body has learned to trust her again. The pain that once held her back has turned into quiet strength. She walks to the park more often now, following the same path she took with Tom. Sometimes she sees him there, moving through his tai-kai with the same gentle grace. They nod to each other, no words needed. The air between them carries understanding, two people who learn to listen. One morning, Margaret brings her friend Ellen with her. Ellen is lively, but complains often about her stiff neck and back. Margaret laughs softly. "You sound like me a few weeks ago." Ellen smiles, half teasing, half curious. "And now look at you. What's your secret?" Margaret gestures to the open space near the pond. "Come, I'll show you." They begin with slow shoulder rolls, awkward at first, full of giggles. Ellen huffs, "This feels silly." Margaret nods. "It did to me too, until it didn't." They move in silence for a moment, their breathing finding rhythm together. The world around them feels softer, the air lighter. Birds skim across the pond, leaving ripples behind. Margaret notices how her friend's movements start to flow more easily. After a few minutes, Ellen opens her eyes wide. "Oh, I feel warm, relaxed." Margaret smiles. "That's how it starts." They continue, their arms lifting, their bodies swaying gently. A small group of older walkers pass by, curious but smiling. One of them calls out, "Looks peaceful." Ellen laughs and waves. "It is." Margaret feels a quiet joy fill her chest. Not because of how far she's come, but because she's sharing it now. The stretch is no longer just movement, it's connection. A reminder that even slowing down can bring people closer. As the days go by, more friends join them. Sometimes 3, sometimes 5. They stretch, talk, and laugh beneath the wide morning sky. The park becomes alive with gentle motion. Tom watches from a distance, a proud smile on his face. Margaret waves at him once, a silent thank you carried in her eyes. Her shoulders roll easily now, her breath deep and steady. The movement that once brought her pain now brings her peace. She realizes that healing isn't just about the body. It's about belonging, about rediscovering joy in the simplest of things. Each stretch feels like sunlight entering her from within. Each breath feels like forgiveness. Margaret looks at her friends and feels the weight of time soften. For the first time, she understands that growing older isn't about slowing down. It's about finding a rhythm gentle enough to carry you forward. One evening, the sky glows with the colors of fading sunlight. Margaret stands by her window again, just as she did months ago. But this time her shoulders move freely, smooth and effortless. She pulls the curtain open with ease, no hesitation, no pain. Outside the world is calm, the trees swaying gently, the air still warm. She breathes deeply, feeling her chest expand and soften. The golden light touches her skin, and for a moment everything feels weightless. She remembers the morning she couldn't lift her arm. How the smallest motion once felt like a mountain to climb. Now she moves without thinking, guided by breath, not by effort. The room is filled with quiet, but not emptiness, peace. She walks to her chair and sits down, her movements slow and graceful. Her body feels lighter, but more than that, it feels hers again. Each joint, each muscle, each quiet breath belongs to her story. The years haven't taken her freedom, they've only taught her patience. She looks at her hands resting in her lap, steady and strong. Her shoulders rest naturally, no longer curled or guarded. She smiles, realizing how small actions built this change. 5 minutes each morning, a bit of air, a bit of time. That was all it took to find her way back to herself. Outside, children play near the pond, their laughter soft and distant. She watches them, remembering her own youth, her energy, her dance. For the first time, she doesn't long for it, she honors it. Every stage of her life feels present in this one moment. The woman who once rushed, the woman who once hurt, the woman who learned to slow. All of them live within her, breathing together now. She stands again, moving to the rhythm of her own heartbeat. Her arms rise above her head, fingers reaching toward the fading sky. The movement feels like gratitude, like prayer. The sunset paints her living room in gold and pink. Each breath deepens the stillness around her. Her body sways slightly, almost dancing with the air. She closes her eyes and whispers, "Thank you." Not to anyone, not even to herself, just to the moment. It feels enough. The years behind her have softened, no longer something to resist. The future doesn't frighten her now. It feels wide and gentle. She lowers her arms slowly, letting them fall at her sides. Her shoulders feel warm, loose, alive. The same body that once ached now carries her with grace. She looks out the window again, watching the last light fade. The world grows quiet, and she stands in that quiet too. Strong, present, free. Her story isn't about youth or age anymore. It's about motion, slow, patient, forgiving. As the evening settles around her, Margaret smiles softly. She has found what she was looking for all along. Not strength, not speed, just the freedom to move with life. The night settles quietly around her. Margaret sits by the window, the moon soft against the glass. Her shoulders rest open, her breath slow and steady. The air feels cool, wrapping her in calm. She thinks of all the mornings that brought her here. The slow stretches, the soft patience, the gentle trust. Each moment, a thread woven into something whole. She smiles, not because the pain is gone, but because she understands it now. Her body no longer feels like a burden to carry. It feels like home again. She moves her arms once more, slow and smooth. It feels like a goodbye and a beginning at the same time. The world outside hums softly, a train in the distance, the rustle of trees. She listens, breathing it all in. Life continues, steady and kind, just like her movement. She whispers into the stillness, "Slow is enough." And for the first time, she truly believes it. The heaviness is gone. Only lightness remains. And Margaret sits there, quiet and free, under the endless night.